Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Anime Sundays, a show where we talk about anime on Sundays. Today we have Showing a Showdown here.
How's it going?
You already know. And of course, with the recent chapters, 1094, 1095, manga, One Piece spoilers incoming, we are seeing crazy feats from Saint J. Garcia of the Gorosei.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, even though the fight technically isn't over as we're making this video, we had to hop on it and do a Saint J. Garcia runs the Gauntlet.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, Rob, so we have this Gauntlet by your boy. I made this. If you have any issues with the order, I don't care. This is the most accurate order so far based on what I feel. Rob, you see what we got going on here.
Oh man.
Saint J. Garcia is going crazy in the manga. Literally, we're talking top 5 conversations all the time. So of course, we had to take some of the most powerful characters in One Piece, alive and old, and in their primes, of course. I just randomly selected some cats. The only rules, really, for this gauntlet would just be that Garcia can recover after every round. Getting right into it. Round 1.
Mm-hmm.
We got Gear 5, Luffy. Luffy's here at the battle. Defeated Kizaru. I guess some may call it a tie. Some may call he was defending his crew. I know there's some nuances.
One hit KO.
We're saying, Luffy took the W over Kizaru right now. And we're seeing that Garcia is Devil Fruit is something we have no idea really the full capacities. People can't even look at him. Sanji can barely keep up. The other Straw Hats aren't hanging in there. So what are we saying? If it's 1v1, Luffy, Gear 5, maybe even starting out in base, what are we saying, Rob?
Luffy's gone. There's no debate. There's no listen. There's something I've been saying for years about the Gorosei in One Piece. A lot of people have debated me on it, saying, "Well, they were seeking out political power. They weren't really strong." I've never ever been a part of that camp. I've always believed that the Gorosei can box. Now it has been confirmed by Oda that not only can they box, but they are top tier in the One Piece world, which is something I've always felt as well. And based on what we are seeing, the own Marines can't even look at him if they're not powerful enough.
Yeah.
They're getting picked off. Sanji is getting hit. Julie Bonnie's getting hit, and they don't even know how they're getting hit or what's hitting them. All you're seeing is the eyes are changing, they're glowing, and all of a sudden Sanji's getting knocked back. The same Sanji that took down Queen is getting knocked back. So we have to look at all these things and look at Gear 5 Luffy and say, you moved up, but you're not Gorosei level. Right. A magic circle formed around St. J when he got there.
It's pretty wild. And I was going to say, we really have no idea how in-depth the power goes. And like I said, this is a little bit before any other 1096-7 pump out. So we're going to really start seeing the full capacity. But yeah, I definitely agree. Luffy was really pulling all stops out for Kizaru. We know, especially when he goes into Gear 5. Once it's over, it's a lot worse than Gear 4. It is not good. The man can barely eat. The man looks like he's turned into a raisin or something. Like he's done. Like he can't do it. So moving on, we have Mihawk. It gets tricky here. I don't think he got it. I don't. I'm sorry. I know y'all call me the biggest Mihawk hater. It's not true. I do think Mihawk is a top tier pirate, top tier fighter in the show. But, he still has his worries. He's still worried about going up against the Straw Hat Alliance. He's still worried about Shanks. He knows that if that battle happens, it's not going to be easy one. It's going to be real tough motion. And
absolutely.
I'm sorry. Even if his level of hockey is on Shanks' level, the Gorosei right now, cats are running. Sabo's running. You know what I mean? Cats are out of there. Yeah. And I just feel like unless Mihawk really got that crazy ace in the hole move that could really cut through maybe anything for real, the man healed himself. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm in complete agreement right now. Mihawk is a great swordsman. We know how powerful he is. But again, I don't think he is Gorosei level. You guys have to understand something. Sabo was in the room with the Gorosei for about a half of a millisecond and almost died. Sabo, Flame Emperor Sabo, almost died, and he was in there for half a second, if that. In order to be Gorosei level, your hockey and everything has to be top tier. Now, that's not to say that Mihawk's hockey isn't top tier.
Right.
Everybody out here has always said, well, if Mihawk is relative to Shanks, then he must have top tier hockey because look at Shanks' hockey. I see what you're saying, and to a certain extent, I can agree. Now, there are hockey feats that Shanks has shown us that Mihawk has not been able to pull off, which is why I'm still holding the brakes. I'm not too sure I would put Mihawk on that Shanks tier. For me, you're not Gorosei level yet, but it doesn't mean he can't be. I just need to see more Mihawk feats.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Now it definitely starts getting intense. We have Kaido.
Yeah.
Again, they say 1v1 bet on Kaido, but they were not talking about that man Garcia.
No, they weren't.
They were not talking about that man Garcia. And now I would say probably out of most of the characters on this list, like Kaido's probably the second most durable, right? We know he can handle a lot. And we know the hockey's crazy. We know what's going on with the Devil Fruit. We know all these things. We can already say that Garcia, just from these few panels, is like just as durable. Cats like Sanji, who's has pretty good observation, can't even move. Now, yeah, all the Straw Hats aren't there. Zoro's not there. We don't know. But at the end of the day, Sanji being there right now, and there's a lady involved, and she's about to get murked, and you can't do anything.
Right.
If there's a moment where you're like, oh, Sanji should be kicking up right now, this is the moment.
Yes.
This is the moment. We've seen with Queen, those women in the Wano house. As soon as he saw that they were in danger, what happened? He was like, all right, I gotta pack Queen up. So if he can't even really get going, yeah. Kaido, again, I think this would be probably a harder fight for sure for Jay Garcia. I think he even knows that just because of how durable Kaido is.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that, you know, the Gorosei felt it was sufficient enough to send Cypher Pole 0 over there means that they don't consider them, you know...
End tier.
Yes, right. End of level, you know, end of series level threats. Yeah. Not saying they don't respect their strength, but... Yeah. I mean, if they felt like they needed to go on the front lines, you know, we're seeing St. J. Garcia on the front lines because Vegapunk is involved. You know, Vegapunk is an end of series level threat with his amount of intelligence and his knowledge, right? I don't think Kaido's strength really threatened them as much, which is why they sent, you know, a Maha and everybody over there.
If they really were like, no, we need Wano, if Eam was like, oh, we need Wano, guess what? Yeah. Garcia's on the way, you feel me? They send in Green Bull. To clean up.
Exactly.
So, all right, we getting into red-haired Shanks. You know, me and Rob have the consensus that Shanks is number one right now alive in terms of pirates. It's tough.
It is. I think it really depends on what we see from Figureland Garland. I think I'm keeping my eyes on God's Knights. I want to see what they have to offer as well. And obviously in the coming chapters, we'll see what's going on with them and how powerful they are. But I think that if we can say that Shanks is stronger than the Figureland Garland, whether they are relatives or not, that will be the deciding factor for me to say, well, I think Shanks can get the job done against his Gorosei member. And for right now, we don't have that information. So it wouldn't be fair for us to say, you know, we don't have enough information for Mihawk, but then give Shanks the benefit of the doubt. So I think Shanks, for right now, we can say he would lose. But once we see more information on Figureland Garling and see if they're related and all that stuff, I think that will change my opinion. Absolutely.
Leaving in Oda's hands. But depending how this fight ends, if we even really see any weaknesses from Garcia like that, then I think we'll have a better answer with Shanks. All right, moving on. We have Monkey D. Dragon.
Yes. We do.
Now here, I think this is definitely
a W.
I think you could give a W to Dragon here. Obviously, we don't have all the information, right? We don't know, obviously, but I think in terms just of respectability, you would imagine that a dragon is the one that is going to be trying to deal with an Eam or another Gorosei member. He probably had already been kind of planning for this Eam guy, whoever, to be the big end game cat. I say if it's 1v1, he should be able to take out a Gorosei member.
I believe so. I think Dragon Sabo was able to escape that room, but you know, Sabo is Dragon's protege, and seeing how powerful Sabo is, you know, Flame Emperor Sabo, you know, he escaped the clutches of Fujitora and Admiral Aramaki at the same time. There's two admirals present. He got the job done, was able to free Kuma. Yes, Lindbergh and Morley and them and the rest of them were there, but Sabo was the front runner in that operation, and he carried out his mission. He's an elite fighter. He knows Dragon Claw, Dragon techniques that he learned from who? Monkey D. Dragon, who we see on this list. So obviously, I think Dragon, being Luffy's father, being Garp's son, and we see how powerful Garp is, right? And even outside of his prime, Garp is still a threat to this day. I think that Monkey D. Dragon definitely has to be Gorosei level for the Revolutionary Army to even have a chance at what they're trying to accomplish. It wouldn't make sense for Monkey D. Dragon to be this weak and not be able to contend with at least one of the Gorosei members. He has to be on that level, absolutely.
But so for argument's sake, we're still just going to keep going. Even if we think he stops there, if it's a tie or whatever, we're going to keep going. We're going to have Prime Beard. I do think Prime Beard would take that W. I'm not going to lie. I do. I mean, some of y'all may have Dragon over Prime Beard in strength. That's a little tough. I still think Prime Beard, the Devil Fruit gives him that edge a little bit.
We gotta wait and see. I'm gonna say that we gotta wait and see, because Dragon we haven't seen go all out, and you gotta remember we just spoke about how Saint J. Garcia was worried, right? He was worried about Vegapunk, which is why he left the front lines, which is why he left the heavens. Dragon is best friends with Vegapunk. They're like Jared. They're like this.
Right.
So when you have a situation like that, one can assume that giving him the highest bounty in the world was not a mistake. Dragon is dangerous. The amount of knowledge he has is probably somewhere close to what Vegapunk has on the situation with O'Hara and all that stuff, right? Dragon has to be super strong for him to even have access to this level of information and protect it. Because we know how the Gorosei move. If you know even a little bit, Buster calls are going your way, admirals are flying around, all that stuff, and Dragon has been able to move and maneuver outside of all of that. The only stain I would say on Dragon's career is the fact that he lost Baltigo to Blackbeard. But again, he planned for it and he left Baltigo. I don't think that means that Dragon was afraid to fight Blackbeard. I just felt like he was not really worried about Blackbeard. He had bigger fish to fry. We could say Prime Beard's got it for now, but Dragon, the stocks look crazy right now. Just
I just think too though that like I think we gotta also just recognize some of Prime Beard's stats of just like pretty much monopolizing the Grand Line. Your man was the deepest on the sea. Like he had the most factions. He was running all his territories for years. Like when it came to who was the top Yonko after Roger, who was the top pirate, Whitebeard had the stretch for the whole time. And so that's why I think, like, obviously hockey wise, they're probably, you know, just about the same. But I think because Whitebeard is that durable and that has that fruit, I felt like I would probably give it to him, but I do agree with pretty much everything you said, though. All right, we're moving on. We got Roger, the King of the Pirates. I do think Roger could take Gorosei. I really, maybe, if we get enough flashbacks, Roger probably may have even know who Eam was. Because we all know, like, when it comes to what we've seen with Eam and all them, their main stuff is trying to keep their reign. Right? They want to keep everything the same. They're going after Vegapunk because they don't want him to give them any information to help overthrow them. They're going after world leaders who may know stuff. You know, they're going after Vivi's dad. They're doing things that are gonna keep them right where they are. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a guy like Roger was one of the cats where they were like, he is just messing up everything. So I can see Roger trying to go up against the Eam and trying to be like, all right, this is the guy that we need to handle Roger, right? And then of course you could say sick or not sick, what have you, he's still top tier. So yeah, I do think Roger can handle a Gorosei member.
Just the fact that Roger and Whitebeard, you know, were at God Valley. I mean, that's all I really need to know. You know, at God Valley, we see who's over there right now. Garling's in the building, Saint J. Garcia's in the building. So yeah, absolutely.
And then lastly, we have Rocks. I mean, I'm sure y'all can assume that if we have Roger and Whitebeard, we have Rocks as well, especially at that time. He was there. He was Whitebeard's captain, one of Roger's rival, needed Garp to help take him down. I think Rocks can take on a Gorosei member. I feel like he was kind of like that anti-Roger. You know what I mean? Like, as you had Roger, who was kind of like the good pirate, the freedom pirate. Rocks was kind of like the terrorizing pirate, but also the one who was getting close to becoming king. You know, we don't know what this backstory may entail. You know, me and Rob have theorized that, who knows, maybe Rocks was a great guy, you know, and then, you know, have you seen, of course, spoilers, 1095, it was rough. The Celestial Dragons really are some crazy MFs. Like, they really had the world upside down. And so you know that if the history ties in with Rocks at all, I can't imagine him it getting worse than what the Celestial Dragons are doing. You know what I mean? So we're gonna see more unveiling about that. What about you, Rob? What do you feel about Rox?
Yeah, I mean, Rox, look at the crew he put together. You know, it's just that simple. You literally forced the pirates and the Marines to join forces just to keep up with what you were able to have put together. And the fact that you got Whitebeard to capitulate is all I really need to know.
All right, y'all. So that's our St. J. Garcia runs the Gauntlet. I know some of you are going to come up to me about the list. It's all good. I know I don't have Shanks over Roger and Primebeard. Sorry, I just need a little bit more. I'm sorry. Like, when you got cats that were running the pirate era for decades, you need a little more sauce. Y'all let us know in the comments how y'all feel about St. J. Garcia. We hope to see the end of this battle go well. And with that, we'll see y'all next Sunday.
Peace.